Anger. Again, I challenge you to look at one of our segments on anger management. But when the anger takes over, what happens there is that the anger takes over my ability to think clearly. And anger is a secondary emotion. It starts with a hurt and turns to an anger. We still don't have a problem if I'm in control. But if, on the other hand, the anger takes over, it takes over my ability to think clearly, and there's only one philosophy. I hurt, want you to hurt. I say hurting things, I do hurting things, and that's where we say those put-downs and those hurting things to each other. Again, I challenge you to tune into the segment that we have here on the subject of anger management and see how damaging it is both to myself and to those that I vent the hurt on. Much damage is done and relationships destroyed with anger. Be careful about that. Okay, we're past self-esteem and we're moving up to the next level, and that's the need to know and understand. So what do I need to know and understand in marriage? I know there's a lot to do with knowledge. We need to know about our jobs. We need to know about our expenses and all of that. But what do I need the most to know in marriage relationship? I need to know my spouse's needs and how to meet them. We're back to the thought of communication then. Realizing this idea of, well, I'm not going to tell him if he hasn't figured it out by now. Well, if she doesn't understand, I'm not going to be the one to tell her. The bottom line is the most important relationship this side of heaven is now a guessing game. If I guess enough times what my spouse needs and do it, I'm going to have a good marriage. If I don't guess, or if I guess wrong, wow, it all turns sour. No, we need to communicate to each other the things that make us feel good, the things that make us feel bad. We need to communicate to each other what we expect from one another. We need to make this a way of resolving conflicts by communicating to each other the things that we need out of the conflict. It's awesomely important. This is what makes the conflict so important, the communication part of it. Do you realize that conflicts brings change? Change brings growth. And indeed, the concept of growth in a marriage relationship is what it's all about. Growing to love one another, growing to need one another, growing to depend upon one another. It's a growing relationship. And so with all of that, we've got to realize that as we work our way through life, we need to communicate what we need to know and what we need to understand so we can grow together. The next thing on his list is the thought of fulfillment. Fulfillment. What that really means is the need to be needed. One of the most difficult tasks I will ever have as a counselor is walking a person through the valley of the shadow of death when they've lost their reason to exist. They got up in the morning and went off to a job. They come home at night looking for their loved one. Everything was about caring for their loved one. Everything was about meeting their loved one's needs. And now they've lost their loved one, so they've lost their meaning in life. They've lost that thing that they needed the most, the need to be needed. I have in the past, in marriage ceremonies, I have challenged the couple from this day forward. You need to tell each other each day, I love you, I need you, for two reasons. Number one, if I'm needed, I need to be told I'm needed. That's back to building up the self-esteem. I need to be told I'm needed. We need to communicate to each other that they are needed. And number two, I need to be reminded how much I need the person. When I'm having that difficult struggle with a relationship and so forth, it's like, I need to know I need this person. I'm not going to hurt this relationship. I'm not going to let this come between us because I need this person. Very important that we understand that the need to be needed is very much a part of life. And if we don't communicate to the other person, the other significant person in my life, if I don't communicate that to my spouse, then the relationship, well, I've even seen it come to this, the idea of, well, what am I needed in this relationship for? The whole idea is one suggests, well, let's do this or this, but they ask their opinion and they don't follow their opinion, they do it this way and so forth, and it's like, well, what am I needed in this relationship for? Bottom line, we need to let each other know we need them. Very, very important.